Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our info session for our program evaluation postgraduate certificate for the winter 2026 term. My name is Mashur Chaudhry, and I am the manager of recruitment and sales for the Chang School. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the land on which Toronto Metropolitan University is built upon. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. I thank the Indigenous peoples of Turtle Island for their efforts to protect the land and deeply regret the past injustices they have endured. As Toronto Metropolitan University seeks to move forward in partnership with Indigenous peoples, I pledge to foster an environment that is more inclusive and welcoming of Indigenous peoples from all communities. Now, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's session. Your microphone is muted throughout the event so as not to disturb other attendees or presenters. For the hearing impaired, we have automated captioning available, which you can access by activating it in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. And you can submit your questions for our speakers at any time by typing them into the question box in your control panel. We'll collect them throughout the session and address them at the end of the presentation. Now I'm delighted to introduce today's speakers. First is Rosa Saif. Rosa is a program specialist with a background in healthcare who supports all stages of program development from initial ideation and research through program proposal, development, and launch and course evaluations for sharing that insight. And then we also have one of our program instructors, Dr. Kiko Kuji Shikatani, who's a credential evaluator, a CES fellow devoted to evaluation and capacity building with over 25 years of experience. So before I actually invite Rosa to share the presentation, we'll do a quick poll just to see what our goals and motivations look like today and what motivated you to consider this certificate. So if you can answer that really quickly, we'll take a couple of seconds to do this poll and provide some feedback to the team. So the options, as you can see, are career advancement, career change, skill building for current role, personal interest, and others. And we will end the poll now and share the results really quickly. So as you can see, career advancement and career change are the highest ones, which is pretty consistent with all of our other sessions as well. And then we've got skill building for current role as well. I'd also like to let everyone know we do have on our call the program director for continuing education, Dr. Aubrey Wilson, and also program manager, Sarah Weisbrot. So now I'll invite Rosa Saif to share a quick overview of the certificate. Welcome, Rosa.
Thanks, Mashur. Welcome, everybody. So we'll start off with some quick facts about the program. First of all, the delivery of the program is fully online, and this includes weekly live synchronous sessions. And this is hopefully to provide you with that flexibility to be able to balance your work life, your home life, your hobbies, as well as your studies. And the program consists of 4 courses. And the overall learning experience you'll find is applied and project-based. And what we mean by this is that you'll get some really great takeaways that you can apply right away in the workplace. You'll also be participating in a lot of really practical activities that reflect the workplace experience. And your instructors, as Mashur mentioned, are industry practitioners. So these are people who are currently working in the field and are subject matter experts. In terms of the weekly time commitment, we've given you a rough estimate of 5 to 8 hours a week. This depends on the learner and it can vary depending on the type of activities you're doing during that week. In terms of time to completion, you can complete the program in as little as 8 months to 1.5 years, but you do have 3 years from the time you start the program. And the total program cost is $3,800 to $3,900. This program is geared towards people with an advanced degree, so a master's, a PhD, in a research-centered field. And this can be really any type of research. So we've just listed some examples here, like business, humanities, health, but it can vary, of course. And as we saw in the poll, the program is geared towards people seeking a career transition outside the academia. So taking what you learned in research and the research skills that you have and applying it to other fields outside of academia. It's also geared towards people who may be already employed in a related role in program evaluation and who are looking to pivot or advance in their career, maybe do a leadership role. As mentioned, we have 4 courses in this program. We have Program Evaluation Foundations, Applied Research and Program Evaluation, Stakeholders and the Evaluation Process, and finally, Program Evaluation and Context. We've listed the start dates for the upcoming course offerings for you here on the screen. And then on the right-hand side, we have the days and the times for the weekly live synchronous sessions. So they are in the evenings, hopefully, again, to provide you with that flexibility so you can manage your time at work and commuting and etc. In terms of the order that we recommend that you take the courses, we recommend that you start with the Program Evaluation Foundations course so that you have the foundational knowledge and skills to be able to apply that to the courses after. If you would like to take more than one course at once, we recommend doing the Applied Research and Program Evaluation and the Stakeholders and the Evaluation Process together. And finally, we recommend taking the first 3 courses before you take the final one so that you have everything you need in order to put it all into context, as the title suggests, and apply everything you've learned. Our program outcomes have been mapped to the Canadian Evaluation Society, or CES, competencies. And for those who aren't familiar, the CES is a national community where credentialed evaluators can learn, network, and this is where they give the designation of a credentialed evaluator. So again, we've mapped the competencies, the outcomes on the screen here to the competencies that the CES has. So by the end of the certificate, you will be able to practically apply evaluation theories. You'll be able to consult with clients, many diverse clients, including those who are historically marginalized, to assess their needs, define what the evaluation scope is, and select the right tools to carry out the evaluation. You'll also understand and account for how social and political systems impact the evaluation. And finally, you'll be able to make actionable recommendations to support desired impacts or outcomes. And this leads into the career opportunities. The ones we have listed here are some of the common job titles that you might see when you're looking for a job in this field. Definitely not limited to this, but what we would like to point out is that working in program evaluation, it applies to many different fields. So, of course, not just academia, but also commonly in nonprofit organizations, government, and even healthcare, just to name a few examples. So if you're interested in applying for this program, the first step you need to do is ensure you meet the admission criteria, which is an undergraduate degree or a combination of equivalent professional experience in education. And the purpose of this is to ensure that you have the foundational skills to be able to meaningfully participate in your courses and also succeed in the program. So these can be critical thinking skills, problem solving, interprofessional communication, time management, and these are all things that you'll be doing throughout your courses as well when you're engaging in the activities. So once you've ensured that you met the admission criteria, you will prepare an updated resume and you'll include your recent and relevant experience in education. You complete the application form to which you'll upload your resume. You submit your application, and then within 48 business hours, you should be hearing from someone from our Chang School team. So that was a quick overview of the program. We hope it was helpful for you. And I'm going to pass it back to Masroor, who's going to take us to the next part of the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that quick overview, Rosa. Now it's my pleasure to invite our next speaker, Dr. Kiko Kuji Shikatani, who is a credential evaluator. She believes that evaluators have a critical role as change leaders, surfacing issues that affect local, system, global efforts, and finding innovative solutions contributing to getting the ultimate beneficiary individuals where they want to be, as not addressing issues that surface is not an option. She's also a CES fellow devoted to evaluation capacity building and has been teaching evaluation for over 25 years to graduate students, professionals, and mentoring emerging evaluators, sharing her expertise on learning as we go, principle-focused developmental evaluation in the public sector in Canada, Japan, Thailand, and other places internationally. She's instrumental in the operationalization of the Credentialed Evaluator Program, documented in the Canadian Journal for Program Evaluation, used by evaluators and voluntary organizations for program evaluators from all around the world. And we are delighted to have her on board. Welcome, Keiko.
Hi, nice to meet you. So when we talk about evaluation, of course, as an evaluator for, I guess, over 35 years, 40 years, I've been asked, what is program evaluation? So it starts with the program, really, and programs, public sector programs, not-for-profit or sector programs, they're all commitments. They're an investment to the commitment that those organizations have made to the beneficiaries. That's what it is all about. So if the beneficiaries, the ultimate beneficiaries, do not benefit from a program, its promises are not realized. So what the program evaluator does, or the program evaluation does, is really to ensure that we're going in the right direction, that those investments, those commitments that's been made to the ultimate beneficiaries are going to be realized. So what the program evaluator does is to support those organizations, those programs, to know where they are so they can get to where they want to be. It's as simple as that. It's a simple act. However, all programs are fairly complicated. That involves the beneficiaries, involves the service providers at the field level, and then there could be a medium level organizations. There could be an umbrella organization. There could be funder organizations, transfer payments, all that kind of stuff. So it is complicated. And then not only that, the actual problems that they're trying to address at the field level is very complex. So it could be about children, it could be about families, it could be about the environment, it could be about labor, it could be about labor relations, it could be about the environment, it could be anything. But the fundamental importance is that there has been a commitment that's been made that would be better. Something would change. And that's where the evaluators are important. They need to be able to look at the whole, look at the specifics, and support that change process to happen and facilitate it. So it's not for the faint of heart, because you need to look at all sorts of things. You have to be able to be a good communicator. You have to be able to nudge that change to happen and make sure the walls don't go up. So because when the walls go up, you're not going to hear any information. So it's it is complicated. It is complex. However, it is a very rewarding area, I think, because I've met many people who are working in programs, including this. This is a program in itself, uh, but they all want something to be better, and that's a nice human touch because we care. And this is why I think I've been in this business for a very long time because I've met many program people and they're really all passionate. I'm sure you have a program that you're passionate about, and that's what we're talking about here. And that's the change we want to facilitate. So I'm teaching the fundamental course, the foundation course, and I've been part of the writing production, the development of it. And I teach on advanced courses. I teach professionals. I taught graduate students and in Canada and internationally. And so please, if you're interested in making changes and if you want to be part of it, that change and to facilitate it and using the skills and the knowledge and the passion that you have, I think this is the right thing for you. So that's is that good? Is there any questions, any comments? Happy to entertain any of that. Over to you.
Thank you again for joining us and sharing that valuable insight and a glimpse into your journey in the world of program evaluation. Yeah, we'll now open the floor up for Q&A. Please go ahead and enter any questions that you have for our speakers, and we'll be happy to answer them. I think we have one question that came in so far, and that is, are there recommended prerequisite skills before we start the certificate?
Would I be the one that answers this question?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can start, and then I'm sure either Rosa or Sarah can chime in.
Yeah. I guess an open mind. Of course, the prerequisite that's been um, shared with you, but I think most of all, your sense of wanting to know about how to support a program, and if you know of any program, that would really help as well. And you bring some of your social research skills that I'm sure every post-secondary institution teach, and that's a good starting point. Over to you, Aubrey.
Thanks so much, Keiko and Mashur. So, one of the interesting things about the program, and I think Keiko, you really hit it on the nail on the head, is that program evaluation is a very complex field. There are a lot of nuances to it. But that's where this program can help you because we have staged the program that helps bring you up with your skills as you progress through the program. So it might be really complex, but it is also broken down and it's really meant to be a supportive learning environment that will help you get there in a good amount of time. So it's not going to be too rushed. In terms of prerequisite skills, absolutely will be helpful if you do have some research experience. So whether it's a course that you've taken through your more formal training in undergraduate, maybe your graduate work, perhaps it's something that you've done as professional development as part of your day-to-day. Perhaps you've already done a lot of the research work, but maybe you just don't know it in the same framework in which we'll be talking about it. So I would recommend that. That's always very, very helpful. But to, loop back to some of the things that Rosa talked about in some of the quick facts is that we do offer some foundational programs or courses. So that foundations course, that 620 course, is really going to help give you underpinnings that you need. So if you're not coming with a research background, maybe it might take you a couple more, maybe take a little bit more time throughout the week in order to wrap your head around the concepts. But it is staged for people who are coming in with no research background. So we do help you upskill. And then we do have additional support materials. And as you see, like with Keiko, instructors are industry professionals, so they can help put things in context in a way that makes sense in industry rather than in academia.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Aubrey and Keiko. Next question is, I know we touched on this a little bit during the presentation, but maybe we can expand on it. Maybe someone joined in a little bit late. How closely does the curriculum align with the competencies of the Canadian Evaluation Society, CES?
So I can answer that question. I'm the one that operationalized the Canadian Evaluations Professional Designation Program, which is the Credential Evaluator designation, and I insisted on aligning on especially the foundational courses and the other courses too. I hope that it is aligned and you will not be disappointed that nothing in the competency is aligned with the course. It's quite aligned. I think I probably drove over crazy, just saying, oh no, 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 no. So it is aligned. But what you take from it is really up to you. And I'm not going to say that you will there are other requirements for the credentialed evaluator designation. And if you like to go to the CES website and look at designation, that would really be helpful for you. You will see that you will get the first level understanding of what you need to learn over time and experiences that you need to gain to qualify for that designation. But it is a great starting point. So as a CES fellow, my interest is that people have a good understanding of what program evaluation is and learn to do it well. Because if people experience bad evaluation, people would not be want to have anything to do with evaluation, and that's really terrible because we want to help programs get to where they want to be so that the ultimate beneficiaries would really benefit. So that's my intention of why I'm involved in this. As Aubrey's known for right from the get-go. So hope it is aligned well. And if it isn't, please let me know. I would like to see it fixed. Yes. Over to you, Aubrey.
Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry. Thanks, Keiko. That was a comprehensive answer, but I would say, just as Keiko noted, there are other requirements for the CES designation, not just education alone. So you may want to go visit the website to figure out if you meet the requirements, because I believe there are some experience and some other educational requirements that have to be met as well. But highly encourage you to become involved with your professional association. It is an absolutely great way to build out your network, keep updated on what's happening in the industry, look for new trends. A lot of the times professional associations offer some free resources as well. So always great to be aware of what the professional networks are and where you can find more information.
Thank you. And I also provided a link for Evaluation Canada in the chat for everyone to go and check out the website. Okay, so moving on to the next question, which is from Rita Valeriano. Thank you for your question, Rita. The question is, what kind of learning in this program is geared specifically towards measuring of soft skill or leadership skill enhancement and behavioral change? Is there any content or any courses that are more geared towards soft skills or leadership skill enhancement and behavioral change?
So I can take that question first. the competencies that a program evaluator needs really aligns well with leadership skills, obviously, because the program evaluated competencies really speaks to all the things that a leader needs to know to manage their programs, really, what the context of the program, what the specificity of the programs, and the timelines, and then all working with all the different people who are interested in the programs, otherwise known as stakeholders. But some people don't like that term, stakeholders, for a very obvious reason. So those are the kind of sensitivities that you will learn and how to communicate with your the people who are interested in the program. And those soft skills are something that you really need to develop, because as I said when I started speaking about the program evaluation course, if you see the walls go up, you will not hear anything from anybody. And that's really the critical point about an evaluator, is that you need to be a good communicator. And leadership skills, the soft skills that, not software skills, well, you need that too, but soft skills that leaders would need really are some of the things that program evaluators need. And I have to tell you that many people who took the program evaluation courses in my professional development courses in other places, especially in the inside organization, they have gone to become directors and assistant deputy ministers and deputy ministers and executive directors and so on. So I think it's a good learning ground for leaderships. So I can attest to that.
Thank you so
Aubrey?
much. There's a follow-up to the question, I think, to just clarify what the learner wants to know is specifically about whether or not we learn to measure behavioral change, which is sometimes hard to correlate with concrete outcomes or metrics.
Yeah, that's a good question too. So what would tell me that we're going in the right direction? That's how I frame it. But those are some of the questions that we will look at, because data is not just quantitative data. It's not like you can count everything. No, many things that happen in our world cannot be measured by numbers, really, not initially at least. So yeah, absolutely, those are some of the things that we'll be looking at.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, next question is, how advanced would you say this program is, particularly for someone who already works in the field of monitoring and evaluation? Who wants to take that? Maybe Kiko, you can start, and then Aubrey, you can join in.
You can make it as advanced as you like to be. I mean, as an instructor, I really teach to the student. So we do have the same resources. And so we can start with the same resource, same curriculum, but how you use that really would depend on where you are in your professional development. So if you're just learning the very basic ones, yes, absolutely, we're ready for that. But if you want to apply that to a more advanced context, absolutely, we're ready for that. So I think it depends on the learner and how advanced you are in whatever you're bringing into the course.
Oops, I was on mute. Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you so much for that answer, Kiko. So next question is from Antonia. Thank you for your question. And the question is data management and or reporting and data visualization included in any of the courses? So how data heavy is it, I guess?
So that's a great question. So the program isn't overly data heavy. So we design the programs to be accessible regardless of what tools you're working with or you have access to. So when we think about things like doing research, we're not going to ask you to do any stats heavy type of using any stats heavy type of tools or technology. So everything should be accessible if you have access to something like Google Sheets, things like that. So we try to make it from a tech perspective very open and accessible. From a data visualization and data management perspective, we do talk about that in a lot of courses. It's a really important component, being able to visualize what it is that you're finding so that you can meet your audience needs. So it's something that's incorporated in the courses, but to that point, we're not asking you to do any extremely heavy stats oriented type of activity.
Awesome. And then one question regarding, taking the courses, right? So is there like a specific order or a recommended order to take it, and can you take 620 and 21 simultaneously, or would you recommend against it?
That's also a really great question. So I would say it's dependent upon the person. So if you do come with an advanced research background, you're very familiar with research concepts, then it would probably be easier for you to take two courses simultaneously. If you are not coming with that background, then I would highly recommend that you take 620 first and that you take it independently. It will serve you very well in a lot of different ways, and then it will help you become accustomed to the concepts that you'll be applying in 621 or 623. So you'll have the foundations and you'll be able to more successfully participate in that course. If you were to take them together, it's going to be a much steeper learning curve. And then also the time commitment might pose a little bit of a challenge as well. We do say that the courses anticipate about 5 to 8 hours a week, and that includes the synchronous sessions. So it's not an additional time component on that. But to Rose's point earlier, it really does depend on your previous experience. It depends on your learning style, it depends on the time you have. So there are lots of different variables in there. So we've tried to keep it to a minimum so that you can incorporate it with your other activities. If you were to take two courses at one time, you'd have to definitely take that into consideration with your planning that, could you dedicate around 16 hours a week on studies? Not to say that it would take that much time, but just as an outside to give yourself some buffer. So I would recommend taking 620 first if you do not have a research background. If you do, then you may be able to successfully complete both at one time, but just make sure you're taking into consideration the workload that might come with two courses at one time.
Keiko, I know you are the instructor for 620. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that.
Yeah, I find that most students that take the 620, they really need to focus on that. It really depends on what your life situation is. And life and work situation is if you have a demanding work situation and demanding life situation, home situation, I wouldn't take two courses at once at especially 620 and something else together because you probably won't be able to focus on the learning that you could benefit from during that time. So I would say it really depends on how much time you have and how comfortable you are with learning. And some people who takes the 620 tell me that this is the first time they've been in a learning situation in 20, 30 years, which is not unusual because I think evaluation is something that you can do when you have a great, amount of experience, some amount of experience with the world. So that's understandable. But at the same time, when you have experience with the world, there's a lot of demands put on you. So I would say be easy on yourself and not, you know, too much cramming might not be a good idea, is what I think. Yeah. But depends on yourself.
So we have a question specifically for you from one of the learners saying, thank you, Kiko, very inspiring. You've worked in many sectors, including education and government. What differences or unique challenges should new evaluators be aware of when coming across different sectors?
I think you have to have an open mind, really have an open mind, and don't think that you're going to do a miracle worker right from the get-go. It takes time for you to get familiar with what's really going on. What appears on surface might not be what's actually happening on on the ground or behind the scenes or any of those things. So you really need to have an open mind and be willing to learn. And the reason I called program evaluation, learning as we go to people that I work with, is because that's what we're doing really. We're learning as we're going and we're learning, and as we get data, we are able to analyze and have an understanding, make sense of it, and we are informed and, move on. So have an open mind, but all program people that I've met, they've been very passionate and they believe in what they're doing, but it really helps to have a good evaluator with them aside, along with them. So that's what it's all about. So yeah. Hope that answers some of the questions. Happy to have discussion further in the course. Yeah.
No, I think that's great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Someone with a background in administration and wants to pivot careers, will they realistically be able to be accepted in evaluation jobs, or would they still be accepted to have further course experience? Is this certificate enough for someone with a background in administration pivot the career?
Keiko, you might have some specific, more real world comments on that. I would say that it's really going to depend on what your background is. It's also going to depend on the jobs that are available. I can only imagine that, like with many other sectors, if you're pivoting your career, you might start at a slightly lower level than you're coming from. So to set your expectations in a realistic sense, one of the things that we offer at the Chang School when you join courses with us is we do offer career advising. And even before you get into a certificate, we do offer academic advising. It's available to you for free. There's no commitment whatsoever. So you can make an appointment. You can have a one-on-one session with one of our career advisors to chat through whether the program would be a good fit for you. Maybe if you're exploring many different options, they can help you narrow that down. And then once you join the Chang School with one of our programs, you also get access to career advising. So the career advisors are there to help support you in terms of learning more about the industry. If you need more information, looking at sample resumes, getting a good idea of how you can pivot yourself for your new career. And a lot of times, one of the things I think is really interesting about program evaluation is the skills are so highly transferable. So the things that you will learn in this program are things that you can apply to pretty much any industry. And if you're bringing experience with you already, sometimes it just requires changing the terminology on your resume so it's more fitting for your job description, the job postings that are out there. And that's where our career advisors can help you once you're in the program. So the Chang School offers a number of career supports. So definitely take advantage. They are free and available to you either as a prospective student or as a learner. So we're here to support your learning journey. And I would recommend, taking a look at job descriptions that are posted on places like Indeed and LinkedIn and getting a sense of how your background aligns with that profession so that you can make sure that you're setting realistic expectations for yourself. But Keiko, I know you probably have some good insights too.
Yeah, I just put the name of I'm sorry, I can't get the links for you at this time, but you'll be able to get it when you go to the Canadian Evaluation website. Look for competencies for Canadian evaluation practice. But when you look at that competencies, you will see that you have some skills that have acquired through being an administrator, part of those skills, but it's really used in the context of evaluation. But you do have that background. So if you're an administrator, you really know what goes into a program. So I think you have an advantage there. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. But like Aubrey said, maybe talk with a career advisor and talk about some of the other skills that you may want to hone in on. But aside from that, I think program evaluation is an area where you can go in from any kind of background. There is something that you have already, and there's something that you need to learn. And everybody has in common is that you need to learn about the foundational knowledge of what program evaluation is. So I think that you will find that you might be a good candidate for this. You just never know until you jump in and find out.
That's such a great answer. Thank you. I did share that link that you wanted. I think Rosa popped it in and I shared it with everybody else. And yeah, please get in touch with us and our advisors with any questions that you have. And we're happy to meet with you one-on-one and answer them. Okay, so moving on, next question is how does this certificate compare in depth and rigor to a graduate course in program or impact evaluation? Yeah, Aubrey, maybe you can start with that.
Sure. Yeah, I think Keiko could probably speak better to the depth of information that in the program. But what I will say is where we differ from graduate level courses isn't necessarily in the quality of education. So we are bringing a quality level of experience education to the table. We are trying to prepare you to go into a career field. Where we might differ from graduate or perhaps degree education is we try to make the learning experience very practical. So everything that you will do in the program is practically based. So all of your assessments will be project based. We try to work with scaffolded assessments. So you have smaller chunks of assessments so that you're getting more timely feedback that you can turn into the next level of your assessment. So we're trying to make it very practical, manageable for people who are essentially working full time and managing other life commitments. You have a lot of agency as a learner, so you have a lot of things that are provided to you within the course, so you can have a lot of control over your learning. But then we do layer that with those live synchronous sessions that are really interactive and meant for time for you to be working with your instructor and your co-students. So the learning experience might look very different, but Keiko, you might have more ideas about the depth of that we go to in the courses versus graduate program.
Well, I'm not going to say this is a doctor program. No. And as you saw in the requirements, the expectation is that you have some level of some graduate studies. So it does help for you to have lots of experience in the area that you come from. That's for sure. And it compared to a graduate master's level course, let's say, I think that the specific research skills are not part of this course, that not part of this program. So that's different. But the understanding of what a program evaluation is covered at a master's level, I think it is covered in this course. So I hope that kind of answers the technical stuff of research, quantitative and qualitative, both of them. It's not part of it. It's a general understanding of that. However, the approach to evaluation is the foundational stuff is taught through this course. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Keiko. I think maybe on the same vein, we have the following question, which is, since this is not a stats-heavy program, which evaluation designs and methods are covered in depth? So maybe you can touch a little bit on that.
So our really focus is on the use of evaluation. So more in the utilization focused evaluation on, but other methods of other approaches are covered, and it depends on what your interest is, what program, where you want to apply, and we will be supporting you throughout that.
Awesome. So I know we don't have a lot of open questions right now. So at this time, I will ask the audience to take part in another poll for us. So just want to know, how likely are you to take a course from this certificate? Provide us a little bit of feedback regarding that, and it'll help us follow up with you all. And while we have that, we'll be closing up soon as we don't have any more open questions available. But is there anything else, any last words that anyone wants to share with our prospective learners today?
Just a quick thank you to say thanks for joining us, probably on your lunch hour. So we do appreciate that you took the time to join us. Definitely take advantage of those free career resources that we offer through the Chang School. It's a really great opportunity before you apply to make sure that the program is going to be a good fit for you. happy to answer any questions that you might have. And best of luck on your learning journey. We really hope that you decide that you would like to join us at the Chang School, whether it's through one of this program or another one. We really look forward to supporting you as you move forward with your career.
Yep. We're here to, I'm here really to have you join the program evaluators community, and if that's your interest, and we can learn together.
Thank you so much. And I do see someone from the audience raising their hand. Colleen. Hi, Colleen. We don't have anyone allowed to talk as your microphone is muted for this session, but I have my email address that I put in there. So please send me an email and we can chat about exactly what you need and wanted to talk about. Okay, so at this point, I'd like to provide our closing remarks. I want to thank all of our presenters and guest speakers today for joining, and wanted to thank everybody, like Aubrey said, in your lunch hour. Thank you for joining in today. If you are interested in this certificate, please visit our website at continuing.torontomu.ca. And if you have any questions for me, you can email me directly at mash.chaudhry@torontomu.ca. The recording of this session with the information and a short survey will be sent over to you within 24 to 48 hours. And on behalf of the Chang School and everyone else here today, thank you for joining and have a great rest of the day.